Count us down, folks. Welcome to another delightful episode of Missouri Swagger. This is episode 8, I believe.
Yes,
I'm
8.
back from Atlanta. 8, yes.
We're trying a different.
I'm Dennis Hopeless.
And I'm Cullen Bunn. We are trying something. We're trying something different today with our recording, a different program. I don't know if it's going to work any better or any worse than the other stuff we've tried, but hey, it's new and different. It's something.
We're doing, and I've moved my recording station to the center of my big wooden and rock room, and I've elevated my microphone off of the hard surface. So perhaps it will sound better. Let's see.
We honestly have no idea what you're watching right now.
No, it's impossible because we always sound fine to one another. And I did a test recording just by myself and it sounded fine. So I don't think it's my microphone that's causing problems. I don't know. At some point, we're going to be making lots of money on this because you guys are going to be following us en masse and buying all of our comic books. And then we'll be able to hire someone to do all the parts we don't understand.
I don't know if we're going to be able to wait that long, Dennis. We may have to buckle down and find someone that understands stuff.
We're fixing it right now.
We're trying something. We're trying
fixing
something different. That doesn't mean we're fixing anything.
That's true.
So, so you just got back from Atlanta.
I think we were so.
What?
Yes.
What about another episode?
What's your Dragon? Oh, you want to talk about DragonCon?
Yeah, let's talk about DragonCon.
Have you ever been to DragonCon?
I've never been. I have, the stories of DragonCon have gone for years and years and years and years. Some of those stories are pretty horrifying. But
so we're going to do an episode about a thing you've never been to.
I can just say I've never been. I've just heard stories, including the really bad stories. But I'm excited that you went.
I did. I went and had a good time. I love Atlanta. I had been on the fence about going because I have friends in Atlanta. Kevin Mellon lives down there, and Matt Wilson lives near there. And anyway, I've had friends down there, but I'd never been to Atlanta. And then at the beginning of this past month, beginning of August, I went to visit my good friend Kevin for a couple days, and Atlanta's amazing. So I immediately got on my email and found the DragonCon invitation from multiple months before and said yes. And thankfully they were like, well, that took you too long, but okay. So, yeah, I went down.
How was it?
It's a crazy thing because the convention part, the con floor, as it were, it's about what Planet was before it moved downtown. So like pretty packed and like a nice looking space, but not huge.
Yeah.
So like a medium-sized con. Let's say like a medium-sized Midwestern con is what the floor is like. But that show floor is one of like 4 floors in that building. And that building is one of 5 buildings that the con is in. So like comics are a tiny part of a much larger thing that is mostly, as far as I can tell, cosplay. So you walk out of this like medium-sized show into a sea of people that rivals San Diego, but 95% of all those people are wearing costumes. So it's like if you take the costumey area of any other con and ran it through a kaleidoscope so that it mirrors out in all directions, it's the most like visually overwhelming place I've ever been in my life.
Wow.
Like I had to leave the area where the con was just to like take a breather a couple different times because it's just like so much sensory overload.
Yeah, I've always heard it was
I also
a big cosplay show. I mean, and I see it coming through like on Twitter, everybody posting pictures of cosplay from DragonCon. It looks awesome. If you're into cosplay.
The cosplay is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to go all out.
Yeah, to a degree that you can't, like, okay, there's a Zardoz dance party. So there are a dozen people dressed like Zardoz all running around together. And yeah.
There are the pictures.
And
first of all, what was your favorite song to dance to? Second of all, were you wearing a unitard?
Well, I didn't get invited to the Zardoz dance party. I went with my girlfriend, Jasmine.
It's an invite-only Zardoz party?
Well, that's the other thing, is that a lot of the stuff, there's there's like tales of DragonCon that people will tell you. They'll be like, well, there's a Zardoz dance party. You're like, okay, what? And they don't have any details. And then you're walking through one of these massive hotels full of people, and you see 5 people dressed like Zardoz dancing. And you're like, well, is that what you mean? Or is like, do those people later meet up with 20 more people and go to an invite-only Zardoz dance party? But
you have to find the Zardoz dance party. You're not even invited. You just have to discover that. The way
here's what happened.
Discovers Zardoz.
Here's what happened with it. I went down with my girlfriend Jasmine, and Jasmine had never heard of nor seen Zardoz, had no idea what Zardoz was. So when she heard Zardoz the dance party, she's like, what is that? So she looked it up. She sees the picture of Sean Connery dressed in the weird red diaper, is immediately infatuated, and said, well, we have to find this. So a couple nights later, we're walking around, and we see 3 or 4 people dressed like Zardoz. And she is like delighted and goes and gets all these photos with them. And they've got the mask and the thing. They're all wearing costume. And, we take photos and we move on. That's the only time we see the Zardoz people. In hindsight, looking at those photos, Zardoz was definitely planning on taking my girlfriend away from me. Like in the photos, it looks like they've come to take her and she somehow escaped and we just didn't figure out what it was. So I think if I just left Jasmine alone for 5 more minutes, she would have been invited to the Zardoz dance party. They wanted nothing to do with me, but I think she would have gotten in.
Much like the rest of us, Dennis. It's funny because DragonCon sounds like, there are little cons around, here in Missouri that have
a cave conference.
What's that?
Like CaveCon, for instance, coming up.
CaveCon is going to be a little different. There's no Zardoz dance party at CaveCon. But no, there
Not yet.
Right. We have to build up to that. But no, there are a lot of little conventions that have gone, over the years that have like these hidden parties and, these invite-only dance parties and things like that. And I've always associated that with sort of a gaming convention. And maybe that's, I think DragonCon kind of grew out of something like that, right? I mean, it grew from a very small convention, right?
Yeah, there's like a big gaming area. I think there's a bunch of different areas that I didn't go to. That's not why I was there. But at some point, yeah, the cosplay took hold, and it is just a massive cosplay thing in and around all of the other things. So yeah, I believe, me, I'm not a gamer, so I didn't go into the gaming stuff, but I think it's there. And it's definitely the case. Jazz is more of a gamer than I am, and so she would point out a lot of costumes that she knew what they were, and I would have no idea.
I like
Zardoz.
I like that you're like, oh, gaming. You know me, I avoided that. But Zardoz dance party, let's go.
You would absolutely go to a Zardoz dance party.
Yeah, but I'm not making any massive statements. Oh, gaming. But of course I'd go to a Zardoz dance party.
It's not like I think gaming is bad. I'm just not that into it.
You can't dance with Zardoz either, but you certainly looked for a Zardoz dance party.
Well, the best thing about Zardoz is the costuming. Like, it's not a good movie, but the costume looks incredible. You can get anybody to watch Zardoz once by just showing a picture of Sean Connery dressed in an outfit.
What songs do Zardoz people dance to?
Well, they were dancing in the Jurassic Park themed DJ booth dance party area that was playing mostly, I would say top 40 dance hits. So it wasn't, they were just dancing to whatever was on. The best part of that was, those big inflatable T-Rex costumes that people wear where they can see out through the thing?
Yeah.
We saw about 20 of those running through the hall in a conga line in different colors, and they danced around everybody. And Kevin Mellon was in there among them doing one of these, and that was really good. I also got a photo with Mayor McCheese at the Steampunk. Is that what it's called? Steampunk is like the steam-powered thing, right?
Yes. Yes, Dennis.
Okay.
The steam-powered thing. Also has pumps. They're steam-powered pumps.
We were trying to go to the Harry Potter Yule Ball dance.
Man, they got a lot of cool dances.
Yes. Our information was faulty. So we ended up at the steampunk dance of some kind, And there I saw Mayor McCheese, and so I have a photo with Mayor McCheese. And many of you probably don't know, none of you know this, but in college, my nickname was Mayor McCheese because our glasses were all my mom's collector's glasses from the 70s and 80s, and she had the whole McDonald's set, and I have a giant head, so they called me Mayor. So it's one of my favorite photos ever. If you go to my Instagram, Dennis Hopeless Comics, you can see a picture of me cheesing with the Mayor. You should like that with a little heart.
I like the idea that you're walking through a convention and you're like, hey, everybody, does anyone know where the Zardoz Dance Party is? And some guy is like, oh, yeah, buddy. You just go down the hall, turn to the right. Now, when you see the Harry Potter Yule Ball, stop there and then turn to the left and take the side hall. Now, if you turn at the second stop, then you're going to be in the Legion of Doom rave. Don't go there. Keep going, and you'll get to the Zardoz Dance Party.
That is exactly how this went. Because we did not get into the Yule Ball. We eventually found the Yule Ball. We got in a 30-minute winding line like at a theme park, and we were behind the rabbit from Zootopia. And the rabbit from Zootopia said that she had an interesting con because she was just going for like cute cartoon bunny and was getting hit on by furries the whole time. So we talked to her, and then at some point she disappeared, and a man in front of us produced a bottle of apple pie moonshine.
Yeah.
And then while we were dealing with the apple pie moonshine, we got a text from Andy Belanger, who is a Canadian wrestler / amazing comic book artist. And he told us that he was upstairs hanging out with Xavier Woods from WWE, who's one of our favorite wrestlers. So we got out of the Yule Ball line, went upstairs, met Xavier Woods, who was dressed like Scar from Lion King, like a man version of Scar from Lion King. And then about that time, I would say the apple pie moonshine kicked in and we no longer needed to be at a party. So we left. So that evening was a lot of bouncing about.
Yeah, it sounds to me like VisionCon here in the Springfield area and Archon over in the St. Louis area, only on a much bigger scale. I mean, like that's the stuff you're describing sounds like the stuff that used to go on at those conventions. Sorry, you hear my cat? My cat decided to walk into the room. Anybody want to see him?
I don't think cats decide things. I think a cat just walked into the room.
Look at this horrible monster. I'll donate him right now to anybody watching. They can have him.
Nobody wants that cat.
I don't
want him.
That's
the thing about cats. Everybody has them. Everybody pretends to love them, but nobody wants anybody else's fucking cat.
No, I didn't want that. Oh, you monster. I went to Planet Comic-Con a couple of years ago, and when I came back, this cat was in my house. My wife and my son decided that they needed to rescue this poor beast, and he is the absolute worst. He is a monster. Everybody else loves him. When they come over, they're like, oh, you have the coolest cat. He's awful. I really, one day someone's going to come to my house, and he's just going to be a carpet that I'm going to have, a rug, a cat skin rug. I will have skinned the cat and thrown him out there because he's terrible. And I don't care who knows that I hate this cat. If you're a cat lover, I'm sorry.
When you have a cat, though, you can hate the cat, but you also love the cat and have to deal with the cat.
Nope, I don't love him. But
you love your family, and they love him.
Usually I would say this is Missouri Swagger is an animal-free zone, but apparently my door is open a little more than I thought it was. But now he's sleeping, so it's okay.
I hope that the sign behind you is a little bit clearer to the people watching than it is to me, because it looks like it says Missouri Swinger, which is a different thing.
Oh, that is what it says. I got a whole different thing going, didn't it? Yeah, I was thinking when you were talking about dances back. By the way, is today your day to tell a story? Yes. No. You told the last story. Yeah. All right. Is it time to tell a story?
I don't know. You were thinking about something.
Well, it's sort of a story. I could just use that as my story, and then I don't
know. You're the one that has the timer.
I was just thinking when we were talking about conventions and dance parties and stuff and costumes. we used to go to Archon, and I think we've talked about this before. For years ago, I was part of a small press publishing company called Undaunted Press. We published magazines, we published chapbooks, anthologies. They were delightful, and we used to set up at conventions and sell them. The mascot for our company was a little bunny with tentacles. We called him Little Bunny Cthulhu.
I've seen this thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't either.
Did you show me this?
What's that?
Why would you have shown me this? I've seen this thing. I can picture it in my head.
All right, well, I'll throw a picture of it up if we can do that with this new technology that we're using. But we decided one year that we were going to purchase a mascot costume of Little Bunny Cthulhu. And I hired a professional furry cosplay designer to build a Little Bunny Cthulhu costume. And this thing was miserable. It was the hottest costume you could ever wear. It was ghastly hot. You couldn't see. And when you wear it, everybody wants to bug you. They all want to grab you or pull the tentacles or whatever. But my friend Nate decided that he loved wearing it because when he wore this costume, all the ladies flocked to him, and he'd go and he'd dance with the ladies, and they'd all gather up and hump Little Bunny Cthulhu, and he might have been having heat stroke in that thing, and he would not take it off, but he couldn't see anything in it. And I remember we were walking one night down the hall with Little Bunny Cthulhu because, again, we had to have handlers. And this jackass with a foam sword decided he was going to whack Little Bunny Cthulhu as he came by. And he whacked him. He was super drunk. He was standing outside some room party. And he whacked the Little Bunny Cthulhu. And then, so one of us said, "Hey, man, don't hit Little Bunny Cthulhu." We were trying to be funny about it. "Hey, don't hit Little Bunny Cthulhu. You will stir his ire." And the guy hit him again. Whack! And so then it wasn't funny anymore. We said, "Hey, stop hitting the bunny." And it's my cat behind me. Sorry. Then he got whacked again. He hit us a third time. And Nate, in the Little Bunny Cthulhu costume, surged up onto this guy, and he shoved his elbow up under his throat and hoisted him up off the floor with his elbow. So right in the middle of this convention, Little Bunny Cthulhu was choking out this dude, had him pinned up against the wall. It was the greatest moment of any convention I've ever been to. So
what did the guy do in retaliation?
He didn't do anything. What do you do when a 7-foot-tall bunny pins you up against a wall? You cower and you say, "I'm sorry, Mr. Bunny." There he is. This is why I hate him. He won't leave me alone.
Right. Scooping up the field mice and bopping them on the head.
That's Little Bunny Cthulhu. That's right. I wrote a poem about it.
You wrote a poem?
Yeah. It appeared, Dennis, in the first issue of Whispers from the Shattered Forum, which was our horror anthology magazine.
Well, see, you almost went an entire episode without saying the word horror. So I'm really glad that we got there.
It's mine. Whatever. I saw today, I know we've already told a story, but I saw today on Twitter, you've got a horror book coming out from Marvel.
I do. I've got
Why don't you tell us about that, Dennis?
It's a Journey into Mystery, something Krakoa, and it is a very strange book that I have a great deal of fun making. It's 30 pages of Howling, and Nick Fury and his Howling Commandos, old war comic style comic book writing, but we're telling a Strange Tales-esque Marvel monster story with it. So it's
about the island of Krakoa from X-Men.
Yeah, it's taking the origin of Krakoa and crashing it together with the last mission of Nick Fury and his Howling Commandos during World War II. And it is
pretty awesome.
Gorgeous and had a lot of fun.
One issue?
Very jealous. Yeah, it's a one-shot.
That's cool. That's good. When's that come out?
I don't know. Soonish. I don't know. There was a preview on Newsarama.
Well, that's good, man.
Release dates. But Avengers Arena Complete Collection just came out, and I'm very proud of that book, and it costs $40, so you should buy that $40 book and give me royalties.
Are we in the Hawk Our Wares segment of the show?
We've never done it before.
But I will say that Asgardian, if we're talking about a bunch of Marvel stuff, Asgardians of the Galaxy #1 came out yesterday to rave reviews. Everyone loves it.
Yeah, the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics said that was his favorite book that came out.
That's what I've heard too. I think we can announce this. It's going into second printing, so that's awesome as well. That's good news for Avengers or Asgardian fans. But if you didn't get the book yesterday or day before, if you didn't get the book this week, next time you're in your comic shop, pick up #1. Has a big surprise at the end that a lot of people weren't expecting, even though it got spoiled like a week before the issue came out, which was not fun, but whatever.
Excellent.
Another
thing that I have out this week is the first NXT issue of our weekly NXT series that's replacing the WWE ongoing this month comes out this week, and it is about the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and his mentoring of the first class of NXT developmental talent. So that came out. What?
Is that out or is it coming out?
It came out today.
Okay. All right. This week. Yeah.
And so it's narrated from Dusty Rhodes. You get a lot of great Dusty Rhodes. It's gorgeous. And it shows Dusty like training all of the big NXT talent from that first class that went on to great things. So that's a really fun book. And then today I got the lettering proof of the Aleister Black issue of NXT, which is issue 4. And that is maybe my favorite thing I've done with WWE because it is insane and weird as hell and really pretty, and I love it.
Well, that sounds awesome, man.
If you like wrestling comics, I make the best ones.
You do make the best ones. I will. You know what? I'll go ahead and go on record and say you're my favorite wrestling comic writer.
Thank you.
I don't know how many others there are out there, but you are my favorite.
There are a few. Oh, I should talk about that. I'll tell a DragonCon swagger story.
Yes.
At DragonCon, Lon Pitts, who is a guy that I think he's like a comics journalist and a comic book writer. He does a bunch of the backup stuff from my WWE book. But he put together and moderated a panel at the show, a wrestling panel at the show. It had, I'm not going to remember everybody's name. I know all these people, but had a bunch of people that work on the book, including me and Jasmine and Andy Belanger, who wrestles in Canada as Bob the Animal Anger. And he came to the panel as Bob the Animal Anger and did the whole thing in character. And also he defended his championship belt at the end of that panel, and I got to referee. It was a lot of fun. So if you can find video, it's out there. What? Yeah, if you can find video out there, you can see me getting a rug burn, sliding across the carpet, and doing the 3 count.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
we gotta. Someone has to find this. Link it to us. Send it to me so I can see it. All right, folks. We broke format tonight. We told 2 or 3 stories, and Dennis talked about Zardoz. But hopefully, you liked the video. Hopefully, you're watching something that resembles a Missouri Swagger video. Who knows? But if you liked it, hit that thumbs up, and please make sure you subscribe and tell your friends about it. And as Dennis likes to say, we will get better. Oh, also we need iTunes reviews. We don't have a rating on iTunes yet because we don't have enough iTunes reviews. So if you download... We're on iTunes, right? I saw this earlier on the podcast version. If you want to listen to the audio version of this, go review us.
If we're not there, I'm wrong, and this is a rating we need somewhere else. But I believe that it's iTunes.
Basically, what we're saying is we need your love.
Yes. If you want to just send us your money, let us know on Twitter. We will set up a P.O. box, and you can just mail us cash.
You got this mercenary side of you, Dennis. I don't like it. I understand that you feel threatened because your girlfriend was almost taken by a Zardoz dude. But money's not going to change that.
That's true. I'm not as cool as Zardoz.
You need that red unitard thing.
Certainly. I would look good in that red unitard. I feel like I have exactly the right amount of body hair for a Zardoz situation.
We just got a whole bunch of bad reviews as you started talking about your body hair.
I think that's not true. Weirdly, I think that's not true. I think people go to a show called Missouri Swagger, they expect talk of body hair.
All right. Well, we're going to record another one shortly, and we're going to have this one up. So keep watching. More videos coming. We skipped a few days because Dennis was out partying with Zardoz, but we're going to get back on track with it.
See you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.